Hi friends, this is Abhishek Patil and today we have Anuj with us. So Anuj will explain the first question of today's contest.
So here is the first question. Is it and two subsequences? So in this question, we have given that there is an array of n integers, which can be negative integers also, and Z wants to split it into two non-empty subsequences A and B, such that every element from array belong to exactly one subsequence, which means these subsequences are contains distinct elements. One element cannot be in both subsequences. And we have to find the value of fa plus fb and maximize it, where f of x is average of subsequence x. So subsequence is here defined that subsequence of sequence y, x is subsequence of sequence y if x can be obtained from y by deletion of several elements, which means we can pick up any number of elements uh, from in random order and call it the subsequence x of sequence y. So here we have to maximize the uh, averages, sum of averages of these two subsequences. So here we go into test cases. For example, there are three elements, and elements are 3, 1, and 2. What are the possible two non-empty subsequences? One can be 3 comma 1 and other subsequence is 2. Another test case can be 3 comma 2 and other can 1. And third case is 1 comma 2 and the other subsequence contain 3. So let's find out the answers in all these possible test cases. So in first case, we have let's say we have only one set which contain all elements, and answer here is average of all elements. But we have to create another set which is non-empty. So we have to remove at least one member. So let's take a case that we remove the highest element. In case 17, 3, 5 or minus 3, we remove 17th element, 17, and the subset we created is 3, 5, minus 3, and other contains 17. So now we take the case if we get benefit by removing another element from this subset. Let's we remove 5 from this, the largest in this we remove. But here we see that if we remove some element from this set, then average of this set is decreased if we remove the largest of this set. And if we remove the largest from this set and add it to this second set, then average of this set is also decreased. So we don't get any benefit from removing the largest element from this set. So answer is simply remove only largest element from total set and take it at one subsequence, and other all elements are into second subsequence. So here is the code. Uh, we read the array and then sort it and take the average of n minus starting n minus 1 elements and adding the last largest element into this sum.
So our next question is we have an array of n distinct integers and we want to sort that array in a non-decreasing order by doing this operation one time. So what we can do, we can split that array into k non-empty subarrays and then we can merge that subarrays by joining their ends. So we need to tell if we can do this by splitting them in k non-empty subarrays or not. So what we are saying, if we have some input, like if we have some input to 547 and we need to sort it. So the sorted array, our sorted array would be would look like this. So for getting 4 after 2, what we need to do, we need to first split it from 2, we need to split it from here, and after that what we will get, we will get 2 arrays 2 and 5 4 7 8, and then after, for joining 4 with 2, what we need to do, we need to split it again from here, so that we can join these two arrays like this: 2 4 7 8 and 5. And now for inserting 5 after 4, what we need to do, we need to again split this array after 4, and after that what we will do, we will join 5 here, and in this way we can get our final sorted array like this. So what is the optimal way to do this? If like in this array, let me undo this, like this is our array, so we want 4 after 2, so 4 is not just after 2, that is the index of 4 is index of 2 plus 2. If it is not index of its previous element plus 1, then we need to break it by 1, that is we are incrementing our count value. Similarly, in case of 5 index is not equal to index of 4 plus 1, it is equal to index of 4 minus 1, so again we will increment our count by 1. Similarly, with the with 7, the index of 7 is not equal to index of 5 plus 1, so we will increment our count by 1. And our last case is 8, so the index of 8 is equal to index of 7 plus 1, so we do not have to split this two values, so we will not increment this, and our increment would be equal to 0. So our final breakage would look like this: 2 4 5 and 7 8, and after joining these arrays we can get our sorted arrays. So this is the optimal way to break, and we need to find the minimum count of breakage, and if that breakage is less than k, then we can break our array into such and sub arrays, so that we will get our sorted array. And the question says we need to split it in exactly k sub arrays. So let's say in this case k is 5, in this case k is 4. If let's say our k is given as 5, then we can easily split this vector, this subarrays into one more subarrays, so it will also work because our minimum value is 4, which is less than 5, so we can always make this kind of solution. So that's what we are doing here. First of all, we are taking an input as our answer, then we are copying this vector in a vector named b, and we are sorting our b vector, that is this one. And what we are doing here, we are saving the index of our values in a map of integer comma integer, and finally we are calculating if the next values index is previous values index plus 1 or not. Like I1 shows the index of current value, and I2 show the index of next value in a sorted vector, that is b. So if it is not equal to I1 plus 1, then we will either increment our count, or we can decrement our case value. Both things are equal. And if k is greater than 0, that means we still have some operations, like we can do more operation. Some operations are left, then we will print yes. And if our count value is greater than k, then after minusing 1 in each iteration in the case values will become negative, so we will print no in this case. So did you understand, Anuj?
Yes, yes, I think this is understood. And can I ask why we have used the map in this course?
Map is used to save the index of our values in the original vector, like index of 2 is 0, index of 4 is 2, index of 7 is 3. So that's after that we are checking if their index is just after the previous value or not.
Okay, okay. Now it's clear, I think.
Okay. So our next question is related to AND and XOR. So we are given an integer n and we need to create an array A of n non-negative integers where each value is less than 2 to the power k. That means each value has k bits in its binary representation, and we need to find the number of ways in which the AND of all the values in that array is greater than and equal to XOR of all the values in that array. And we need to finally print our answer modulo 10 to the power 9 plus 7 because the answer could be very large. Okay, so here is the example in which n is 3 and k is 1. That is, our every number would be of bit, every number's binary representation bit size would be equal to 1, and we can have three numbers in our array. So these are all the possible combination that we can have, and in this possible combination, these five combination, taking and will give us greater than or equal to values, then taking XOR, like AND of 0 is equal to 0 and XOR of 3 0 would be also equal to 0. So these two are equal. In this case, if we take AND, it would be 0 and OR would also be, and XOR would also be 0. Similarly with this case, similarly with this case, and in this case, in the final case, if we take AND of all three ones, then we will get 1, and if we take XOR of all three ones, then we will again get 1 because the number of 1 are odd in this case. So these are the possible combination in which the AND is greater than and equal to XOR. So do you understand the question, Anuj?
Yes, yes. Now, at this point, this is clear. You can proceed.
Okay, so we have two cases. First is n could be odd and second is n could be even. Okay, so let's first discuss about the case when n is odd. So let's say we take a particular ith bit from the k bits, and we need to make the AND value greater than and equal to XOR. Okay, so in case 1, all if all the bits are 1, then our AND will give 1 and our XOR will also give 1 because n is odd. Okay, so in this case, our AND is equal to our XOR. Okay, so we do not need to worry in this case. And our second case is some of the bits are 0. Okay, so our AND will give 0 definitely because some of the bits are 0, and to make this AND greater than and equal to XOR, we need to make this XOR value of that ith bit also 0, because if the count of 1 is even, then our XOR will give 0, and the count of 1 is odd, then our XOR will give us 1. So we need to make this value is equal to 0 because our AND value is also equal to 0, and we cannot have 1 because in that case XOR value will be greater than our AND value. So we need to make the count of 1 equal to even. So what we can do in that case, we can take NC0, the number of ways to choose 0 values from the n values. So in this way we are finding the number of ways in which we can choose even values of 1 from the n numbers, that is nc0, nc2 up to ncn minus 1, where n minus 1 would be our last even value. So do you understand this odd case, Anuj?
Yes, yes. Odd case is, I think, easy.
Okay, so our next case is n is equal to even. So let's first discuss our case 2 in which some of the bits are 0, because this case is little bit easier. So our AND will give us 0, and to get 0 from XOR, the number of ways in which we can get 0 from XOR are NC0, NC2 up to NC n minus 2, because if this we have discussed earlier here, the number of ways of taking even number of ones from the n numbers in the ith bit. So why we are not taking ncn minus 2? Because if we take ncn minus 2, that means we are making all our bits equal to 1, and if we make all our bits equal to 1, then our end value will give us 1, not 0. So that's why we are removing that case from here. So do you understand why we have deleted this thing?
Can you explain once more? I think it's
Like
not.
we need to find the number of ways in which we can take even number of ones. So that would be nc0, nc2 up to nc, that would be equal to nc, and up to till this value will give us the number of ways in which we can take even number of value of 1, but we are deleting the last case. Why we are deleting the last case? ncn means we are taking all the bits equal to 1, and if we take all the bits equal to 1, then our AND will not give us 0, and in this case we have already assumed that some of the bits are 0.
Okay, okay, now it's clear. Okay.
So okay, so we do not have to NCN because it would give us case 1. So case 1 is all bits are 1, so we will handle this case later. So this up to this is similar to the odd value case, and our next case is all the bits are 1. So our AND will give us 1 and our XOR will give us 0. Okay, so our AND, let's say our AND AND bit is 1 and our source bit is 0. So now if you can see, whatever value we will add after this, like whatever value, some random values, any values, this AND will always be greater than the XOR, because this most significant bit is 1 in AND and 0 in XOR. Okay, clear? Is it clear till now?
Yes, yes, it is clear.
Okay, so once our AND's value is 1 and our XOR's value is 0, then we are finding the number of ways in which we can take these values in our array. So the number of ways would be equal to 2 to the power y, where y is the remaining number of bits. In this case, y is equal to 4, because our remaining number of bits are 4, and we can take any value in that array. Okay, so what we are doing, because our array has already become greater than XOR, our AND has already become greater than XOR, then we can take any values after that. And for making it better greater than XOR, what we are saying, we need to equalize the previous values also. Like if we have 0 here and 1 here, then our case is not valid. So we need to equalize all the previous value also, like this. All the previous value are equal in AND and XOR, and our one bit is different here. So after this bit, we can take all other bits, any random values. So our AND would be greater than our XOR. So we will do this for every so we will do this for every bit from I equal to 0 to I equal to k. Like in this case, it is for I is equal to 2, I is equal to 2, where our AND's bit is 1 and XOR's bit is 1. It is also possible when I is equal to 1 and I is equal to 0 up to I is equal to k. So that's what we are doing here. So we need to find the ways to make previous bits equal to 0, that is 0 in both cases and in XOR, either 0 or 1, multiplied by 2 to the power y, where y is the number of remaining next bits, like this. So what we are doing, first of all, now this is the code to find NCR. You can find it on my GitHub, that I have provided, and I will put that link also in the description, in which you can find this code. This would give us NCR mod M. Okay, and this is the code for finding the power of 2. I think we are not using this, so you can ignore this code. And first of all, what we are doing, we are taking the input as n and k, and if k is equal to 0, we are printing 1, that is one of our edge case. And if n is odd, then we have different method for odd and different method for even. So for odd, temp is storing the number of ways in which we can choose the even values of 1. So nc, in this loop we are calculating nc0 plus nc2 plus nc4 up to nc n minus 1, because n is even, so we can calculate up to n minus 1 only. And then finally we are adding this to our answer. So this temp contains the number of values in which we can choose even count of 1, and we are adding this one because this one for our case 2, this one for our case 1, where all of the bits are equal to 1. So we will have one case in this situation. So we are multiplying our answer by 1 plus temp, that is 1 plus number of values in which we can take one even number of count. And then finally we are printing our answer. Finally we are multiplying this with our answer, because if we have k bits like 0 1 2 3 4 5 6, then the number of values for getting the answer is equal to number of values for getting the zeroth bit, getting first bit, getting second bit, and we need to multiply this all to get our final answer. So finally we are printing our answer here. So is it clear, Anuj?
Yes, yes, it is clear, Abhishek. Very good explanation, I think.
So after that, what we are doing, we are calculating for our even. So temp is again containing the number of ways in which we can choose the one count of 1 equal to even, except ncn, that is we are going up to n minus 2 only. Okay, so this temp is containing those value. And finally we are doing the same thing as we are doing in our odds case, that is our case 2, in which all of the values are not 1. And this code is related to find the number of ways in which our ends bit is 1 and our Zor's bit is 0. So what we are doing, we are first calculating a vector equal, which contains the number of ways in which we can make the previous bits of AND and XOR equal. Okay, so how we are calculating this? First of all, we are calculating our equals 0 bit is equal to 10. That is the number of ways in which we can equalize the two values, like we have done here. And then for each I value, for each iteration of I, we are incrementing I. For each increment of I, we are multiplying temp to our previous value. So let's say if the number of ways for making these two bits equal to these two bits equal is x, so the number of ways for making two bits equal would be is equal to x into x. So and the number of ways to make three bits equal would be equal to x into x into x. So that's what we are doing here. We are pre-calculating these values by multiplying its previous value. And I think this code is yeah, this code is used below. So we are first calculating the power of 2, 2 to the power n, because we need to find the number of random values that we can take after our AND become 1 and our XOR become 0. So that's what we are calculating here. power 2n is equal to power 2 की power n. And finally, what we are doing, we are iterating from I equal to 0 to k, and this I represent the ith bit where AND is equal to 1 and our XOR is equal to 0. Okay, so uh, so now our temp will represent a different value. First of all, it is initialized with 1. So let's say we have remained with one bit in which we need to take the random values. So for one bit to take random values, we can have two ways, that is either 0 or 1. And if we have two bits and we need to take the random values, so it would be equal to 2 into 2, that is 2 to the power n, if we have n bits. So that's what we are doing here. We are iterating from I equal to 0 to k, and in this loop we are incrementing, if we are multiplying our temp with 2 to the power n, that is we have already calculated here the number of ways of taking random values in n bits. And for each iteration we are multiplying temp, that is the number of ways to take the random values multiplied by the number of ways to make the previous bits equal. So if we do not have the previous bit, that is our k is not, k minus I minus 2 does not belong to 0 to k, that is we do not have any previous bit, that is we are talking about the first bit. So in this case we do not have any previous bit, so we will um, add the temp value in our answer, and finally we are taking the modulo with m with our answer and printing our answer. So Anuj, do you have any doubt?
No, Abhishek, I have no doubts and it is clear very much.
Okay, so I think today's contest was little bit tough because the submission of DA was very less. So that was it for today's video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.